We have reached the point in our TED Talk journey where we will begin to develop our ideas, which is really exciting. This is the fun part where you guys get to start actually building your talks. So we're going to start today with looking at what a through line is. This is going to be very important to determine before we build our talk. And then as we go forward in coming days, we're going to be looking at building our talk arc. We're going to be looking at researching our ideas and supporting them. We're going to write our scripts. We're going to create visuals, and we're going to practice speaking along the way. So that's what you have to look forward to. But today what we're going to do is we're going to just start with identifying what a through line is. We're going to define it. We're going to look at some examples of a weak through line and a strong through line. And then you're going to have a chance to watch a couple talks and see if you can identify the through line of the talks that you're listening to, so you have a better handle on what it is that you're going to be doing for yourself. So the first thing we're going to do is just define it. A through line is the main connecting theme or the anchoring idea throughout your story. I'm going to show you a couple examples now of a weak through line and a strong through line to give you an idea of what I'm asking you to do. And that right there is Stanley asking me to throw his little baby lollipop toy. Well, he's gonna have to wait. So here are two examples. This speaker is doing a presentation or a talk about the impact of football on, I'm assuming, his life, but of course it could also be a she. But we're gonna look at two through lines here. The first one is an example of a weak through line. It reads, "Football is a great sport because you learn a lot about teamwork." Okay, there's nothing wrong with that on its face. We can hear the opinion and we have a reason, right? Football's great because, but let's look at the example of the strong through line and think about how that really is a much better through line for our speaker's talk. "Losing a series of football games motivated my team to come together and recognize each other's strengths. Now I use this important skill with my family too." Think for a minute about what you're noticing is the difference, or if there are more than one difference, between these two through line examples. I'm wondering if you're noticing the same things I'm noticing. The strong through line is deeply personal. I see some personal pronouns in there. I see my team. I see now I use. So I can see, or I feel like this second talk or the second through line has a much more personal spin on it. And you'll notice that, or think about, we've been talking about attaching personal stories to our talks. So I feel like in this through line, I'm hearing that personal story come through. The strong through line also, I can clearly see that there is, that teamwork is mentioned, but it's mentioned in a much different way, a much more specific way. Talking about the experience of losing, and it's motivating the team to come together. There's that teamwork. And not only come together, but recognize what was significant about them coming together. And then in this through line too, we can also see that this experience had a lasting impact because it says, now I use this important skill with my family. So it looks too like our speaker is not only sharing about an impactful moment in their life or an impactful experience, but showing how going forward it can inform other experiences. So let's go back. Football is a great sport because you learn a lot about teamwork. Let's say that you guys have a chance to watch one of two talks. The first one has the first through line, and the second talk has the second through line. Which of these talks do you think you'd be more interested in listening to? I know for me, I think I would much rather hear the second story about how a team lost their football games and came together, and to understand how that experience helped our speaker. And it's funny, it sounds more interesting, but I also have experiences with losing in moments of my life, either on a team or in a more abstract way. So I feel like I'm really going to be able to connect to that talk, and it's already got me much more interested than that first one. Okay, so we've looked at an example of a weak through line and a strong through line. And now we're just going to look at what actually does make a strong through line. So here we have our definition again. A through line is a main connecting theme or an anchoring idea in a story. And here's our list of characteristics of a strong through line. A strong through line is going to convey something only you can give a talk about. It's going to share a unique learning that you believe should be shared with the world. It's going to share maybe a new way of looking at something. And it's going to answer the question, why is this an important idea for me to share right now? What is the relevance? And that through line is actually a really short summary of your talk. So while you are looking at this definition and thinking about what makes a strong through line, I would like you to go to slide number 12 in your TED Talk notebook. Slide number 12 has just a question on it, and it says, what is a through line? And what I'd like you to do is take the information from this video, and also I took some quick still shots that I'm including in this post as well. And I want you to create your own sketch note on this slide for answering what is a through line, okay? Now, you can do this by bringing in images and using labels. You can use any of the tools there that help you use shapes and connectors and things like that. You could do your sketch note on paper and bring that image into this slide. Any of that is fine. We just need a sketch note that shows that you understand what a through line is. I want you to spend a little more time processing this on this slide. So that's your first job today, is to identify what a through line is. If you need to go back and watch this video, go back and watch the video. You can look at the still shots that I've included in this post as well. And that is your first order of business. Once you've done that, our next step is to go looking for through lines in other talks. So you're going to notice on slide 13, it reads identifying a through line, and I have a table there for you to name the speaker and the through line. In this post, I'm going to be sharing 4 different videos. 2 of the talks you've already seen. And you'll notice that in my first row, I have written India Hawkins or Haseet Kazi. And that's because for your first talk, I want you to go back and re-listen to one of these talks that you've already listened to. And I want you to identify the through line in that talk. That's the first thing you're going to do. And then I have 2 other talks by 2 other speakers that are ones you have not heard before. And I would like you to listen to each of those on Tuesday. Or before then if you have time and want to do that, but that's going to be your Tuesday work, to listen to each of those talks and to identify your through line for each of those and to add them to your slide as well. Okay, remember to reach out with any questions that you have. I had some really good chats with people clarifying some other work on other days. And so if that is helpful to you, please reach out. Enjoy these talks, friends.